Now that we've had some time to play with this new patch, I want to talk about the brand new unstable rift that just got added to Deadlock, which isn't actually as brand new as it sounds, because they took the King of the Hill objective format from the urn and just made it its own separate thing. And I've seen a lot of mixed reviews about this, and I want to give my own thoughts on it, because once again, it's not quite perfect. It is interesting, and I appreciate that we've at least evolved the game a little bit compared to the, staleness that we had over the past 3 weeks. But yeah, there are still some concerns that I have. So if you don't know what this rift is, let me catch you up to speed. The rift is now its own separate objective. It first spawns in at 12 minutes, and it spawns once every 7 minutes from that point. It just randomly decides one of the two different lanes, yellow lane or green lane, and it'll put a little marker indicating that a rift will arrive soon. And then after that, the rift arrives. And, well, you have to wait a little bit longer, and eventually the rift will magically open and create this circle that both teams can stand in to capture. And once the team captures it, it will award the team a bunch of souls, and it'll summon some super troopers on the lane to give you a bunch of lane pressure. And it does have some comeback mechanics, and they made the comeback mechanics gradual, so if you're behind by a little bit, you get a little bit of an advantage. If you're behind by a lot, you get a big advantage. And that, I think, is objectively good. But, yeah, you can actually get, 8, 9, 10 super troopers. You can get a lot if you are behind and you actually manage to capture one of these rifts. And meanwhile, the urn is back to being something that you directly deposit, and it just instantly gives you the souls, and it puts the souls up into the air for you to shoot, except instead of being a team-based objective, it is now an objective that only awards 1, maybe 2 people the souls, and that maybe 2 is if someone else comes in and also helps to shoot the souls. So it's really just like a glorified sinner's sacrifice now. It gives you 4 buffs, it gives you a lot of souls, and, it's useful. It's honestly kind of mundane now. Sometimes I don't even really notice it in some of my games. Someone just picks it up, they're not revealed on the minimap, they just trek it over, and yeah, no one's the wiser. So here's the thing about this rift, and this is actually a concern that I had immediately after reading about it, but I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt, so I didn't immediately talk about it, but the main concern that I had appears to have borne out. If you are the team that's ahead, and you capture the rift, you get super troopers, and it also really helps you snowball. It's still kind of a little snowball-y, this objective. And the reason why is, well, if you're the team that's ahead, you naturally are going to have better wave control, which means you're more likely to capture this objective, which spawns in neutral territory. And because of that, oftentimes, I have actually seen people just straight up ignore the rift. Like, if you're on the team that's behind, the enemies are in control of the lane, they don't even come to fight now. Like, what is there to fight over? It's really most of the time a losing battle, and now this rift actually ends up being, in some ways, even stronger than the previous urn, because you still get a lot of souls from it, and then you also get more lane pressure out of it than you had before. Now, if you are actually able to capture a rift as the team that's behind, it is pretty darn valuable. I was able to capture a rift and then use the super troopers to finally take out a guardian on the lane, and that was very nice. So I do think, the comeback mechanics are pretty solid if you're able to capture it as the team that's behind, but the inherent issue of it being in the middle of the map and just being way easier for the team that's ahead to take is a problem. But the other problem that I have with it is the fact that, honestly, it is really uninteractive compared to the other objectives in the game. So I had a moment where I was like, oh hey, check this out, the rift is spawning on the yellow lane. And so I pushed the wave up, and then, the gray indicator went away, and poof, there was the rift. And I had to wait like a full minute before it finally decided to start the objective, and there was nothing I could do to speed it along. I couldn't melee it, shoot it, drop something off, press a button, do anything. It was kind of boring. And then the enemies were not in a position to contest it. They were just really pushed back. And so I just ended up sitting in the circle for a bit. I basically just spent a couple of minutes just sitting around not really doing much. And that was not very fun. If you compare it to the other objectives in the game, for the Spirit Urn, you have to melee it to interact with it, and then you have to trek all the way across the map while dodging the enemies and trying not to let the urn fall into their hands, and then you deposit it, and then you immediately get the instant gratification of the souls, except wait, the souls are actually in the air, and the enemies could steal it, so you have to be diligent about securing the orbs. That is very interactive. And then the mid-boss, obviously, you kill the enemies, then you go down to the mid-boss, you have to shoot the mid-boss, punch it, do all of that, and then you have to defend your Rejuvenator Crystals from being stolen by the enemy team, which doesn't always work out. There is, counterplay there, and that leads to the Rejuve also being very interactive. Meanwhile, this new objective, it's a lot of sitting around doing nothing, and if both teams do actually decide to fight on this objective, it's still very chaotic. The circle is really restrictive. I just do not like this circle. I think if we're going to keep a King of the Hill objective like this, we've got to open it up, give a little bit more play area, and make it more naturally formed around the actual terrain. Because this circle does not fit the area of the map that it's on. It's really clunky, and I don't like it. Now, it's not to say there isn't a place for this King of the Hill objective in the game, and I do actually really like the idea of an objective that gives you Super Troopers and makes it easier to push out a specific lane. But I still think this iteration needs a little bit of work. First of all, it is not interactive enough. I think you should be able to do something to start the rift a little bit earlier. I don't mind there being this, warning indicator that lets you know that a rift is about to spawn, but once that warning indicator, expires, I think the rift should just start instantly. Or if you are in the area, you should be able to do something to get it to start without just having to wait a variable amount of time. It's not even predictable, and you could be waiting as much as a minute before it finally even starts the objective. That's just really boring. I think it's to give, both teams time to respond and get ready for the rift, but I think the rift indicator should just be that thing that gives you the time. There shouldn't be rift indicator, then rift waiting period, then rift capture period. I think it should just be rift indicator, lets you know a rift is about to spawn, and then give it 30 seconds or however long it is, and then bam, just capture it. Much faster, much cleaner. But the big issue that's just really tough to solve is the fact that whichever team is ahead will have an easier time defending this area of the map, because their lane control will be better, their tempo will be better, and their team fight will usually be better. And still, for this objective, AoE slop is king. I mean, how could it not be with this circle? Which is another incentive to expand the region, I would say. Now, that part is a little bit trickier to solve, and I won't pretend like I have a good solution for, this comeback mechanic. But one thing that I think could be done in the short term is if your team is ahead, maybe you just don't get Super Troopers. If you're ahead by enough, anyways. Like, if the game is even, you're up by like 1 to 3k, sure, have some Super Troopers. But once you reach a certain amount of deficit, I think the team that's ahead just shouldn't get the Super Troopers. They already have better lane shove by the inherent nature of them being stronger, and they will still get souls from this objective, which will just make them even stronger. Having to deal with Super Troopers on top of that is frustrating. Or maybe if your team is behind by enough, and you want to keep the Super Troopers, make the Super Troopers give money to the team that's behind when they kill them. Just something to make it feel not as bad when you're behind. Now, if you are behind and you cap it, I actually think it's really cool. I like seeing a bunch of troopers pop out. It's pretty fun. But, yeah, it doesn't feel good when your team is ahead, you capture the rift, you're just kind of sitting there because it's uncontested, and then you get these Super Troopers, and it just makes, pushing a cakewalk, which, that cakewalk portion, that does not feel good to play against. And so, yeah, it is a little bit of a tricky objective right now. But thankfully, at least the fact that it doesn't spawn as often means that it's not as big of a deal as some of the other objectives, like the urn, like the mid-boss. And honestly, I am happy that the urn is back to somewhat normal. It's really kind of almost inoffensive now. It's helpful, it's good, it's fast, it's interactive, so, I'll take that at least. So yeah, it's not to say that this rift doesn't have potential and that there aren't cool things about it. The visuals are cool, the music is cool, I like the idea of an objective that gives Super Troopers, but I think it's fair to point out these very serious flaws that the objective has because, well, I want to make it as good of an objective as it can be. So, Let me know what you guys think about the Rift in the comments section down below. How have you been enjoying this update? Do you like this new objective? Do you agree with my criticisms? Do you have anything you would like to add? Let me hear from you in the comments section down below. And while you're down there, make sure to like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here and you want to see more content like this, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.